Hello. In the last video, we have looked at how to solve problems using flowchart. The first example we looked at was add two numbers or sum of two numbers. Okay. So I also asked you to do one of the homework, which is a sum of three numbers. Hope you have done that. So if you have done that homework, sum of three numbers, then you know you need three inputs. What if I ask you to do sum of five numbers or six numbers? You need six input, six or whatever the number is. You need that many number of inputs. That is not is not a efficient way to solve problems. So to solve that kind of problems, like repetitive process, like the process where it repeats itself. In this case, sum is repeating number of times. It could be 3 times, 4 times, 10 times. So we are going to see that how to solve this problem efficiently using a for next loop. That is what we are going to learn today. So today's problem is sum of n given input numbers. Sum of n given input numbers, which means if I give 10 numbers, your program should be able to add. If I give 100 numbers, your program should be able to add and then tell me the correct result. That is how we are going to solve this problem. So let's start with flowchart. As usual, we are going to start. So start with the start symbol. S-T-A-R-T. This comes in the oval symbol. Okay, that's the first step. The next step, if you look at the problem, sum of n given numbers. What is n? That is the number we are going to give to the computer. Say 10 number of numbers. How many numbers are you going to give to me? That is the number n. Okay, so n is total number of numbers we are going to give to the computer to make in a sum. So that is the input. Therefore, we need to receive that in the input control, input n. So again, this is the input that we denote using parallelogram. Okay. So now we got the n. Okay. Now we know how many numbers we are going to add. How many numbers? Okay. What are all those numbers? That comes next. So what we are going to do? We are going to do sum. So as I said in the previous video, it is a good practice to declare a variable. Whatever the variable you are going to use, you declare that variable. In our case, sum is going to hold the value of total numbers. Therefore, I am going to declare sum. So initial value is going to be sum equal to 0. Again, this is a variable value assignment. Therefore, it should be in the rectangle box. Okay, now we got the input. We know we are going to sum all these inputs. Therefore, that value is we declare as a 0. Next, this is the important part. This is a new in this course. We are going to use for next loop. What it does, if you put any repetitive process in this loop, it's going to repeat that process. Whatever the process we are going to put in the looping process, it's going to repeat until that condition is until the process is complete. Let's look at the example. So first, you need to write statement for I equal to 1 to n. So the diagram for this for next loop is put just the parallel lines and then connect this line in triangle shape at the both end. Okay. So for I equal to 1 to n. This is called for next loop as a header. Okay. For is a variable, it's a keyword. It's not a variable, sorry, it's a keyword. I I is a variable, that I initial value is 1, that's the first value, to n. To n number of times this loop is going to repeat. What is n? That is our input. That is our input. If we give 3, this loop is going to repeat 3 times. If we say 2, this loop is going to repeat 2. That is a total number of numbers. Okay. What we are going to do in this loop? Let's say we are going to add 2 numbers, like similar to last video, sum of 2 numbers. If I say 2 numbers, I need the first number. So I need an input. Input, again, this is input. I'm going to call my variable as num, N-U-M, as a number. Okay, or you can say number. Number is a reserved word. So that we'll learn as we go along, trying to avoid reserved words as a variable. Okay, so I'm going to use num. Num is my variable, which is input. Whatever the value I'm going to give, I'm going to store temporarily in variable called num. Okay, now we got the first input. What we need to do next? We need to add this input in our sum and store into sum. So because this is the initial value, sum equal to sum plus number. This is a calculation, therefore that should be in the rectangle box. So if you look at this now, sum equal to 0, that is our initial value. We started a loop. We got the first number, first input, which when we test, you will understand this better. Next, we are going to add sum equal to sum plus number. That number is our first input. These are the two processes. Give me the input, I'll add it. Give me the input, I'll add it. This is what this loop is going to do. What is next? Next, we need to repeat this process up to n times. How do we denote that? The reserved word called next, or keyword I. Next I, again, similar to for next, for the flowchart symbol, but smaller size, 2 lines, and then at the end with the rectangle symbol. Okay, similar, same as for statement, but this is little bit smaller. Okay, for do something, next I. It is a good practice to begin with. You start using dotted lines to indicate this is the looping range. This is the repeated process. Now you can clearly see my for I equal to 1 to n, I'm getting input. Whatever input I receive, I add it, store in the sum. I'm going to repeat until it reaches n times. Okay, this is what it is. Okay, once the value reaches, once the loop is repeated process is completed, what we need to do? We need to come out of the loop, print the value of sum. Okay, so output, which is print sum. Again, this is output, so parallelogram, and then stop. Okay, so as usual, we have identified all the elements we need and then the process we need to solve this problem. The one thing is missing here is the direction of the flow, because this is a sequential direction from top to bottom. There is no side way going at this moment. That we will see in later. For now, let's connect from top to bottom. Start, input, assignment, loop, input, calculation, next, print, and stop. So now we know the flow of this flowchart. Okay, the direction of the flow. So here input n. So I'm going to take two numbers. While let me test this. While I'm testing, I'll explain the process also. So it will be much easier when I give the example. Okay. So how many variables we are using here? Input n. That is our first variable. Sum is our second variable. I is our third variable. Number, which is num, is our fourth variable. Okay. So rest of them are same. Some These are all the variables we use in this flowchart. Okay, I'm going to add two numbers. So you can use this flowchart for two numbers, three numbers, 100 numbers, 200 numbers, 1000 numbers. Okay. So this is a very generic flowchart. Now I'm going to use just the example. I'm going to add two numbers only. So my input is going to be 2. My n, how many numbers I'm going to add? Two numbers. Okay, next control is come to here, sum equal to 0. So sum value, initial value is 0. Now this is where my loop starts. I equal to 1 to n. I value, initial value is 1. So I put 1 there. Next, this is where we are going to give input. Input number. This is where we are going to give the first input. Okay. So my input is going to be 7. Then next we are going to add sum equal to sum plus number. Okay. Sum is already 0 plus number. Our input is 7. Therefore, the answer is 7. Sum equal to sum plus number. Sum initial value 0. Our input is 7, which is number. 0 plus 7, 7. Now, sum value becomes 7, not 0 anymore. Next I. When you say next I, whenever you say next I, when the loop comes to the next part, that I value get incremented by 1, which is I plus 1. What is I value? 1. That is what the initial value. Now, when you say next I value get increment by 1. So, 1 plus 1, 2. Now, I value is 2. Then control comes to, okay. Now, I value is 2. When I value is 2, the control comes to here. So, this is here if I greater than n. If I is greater than n, the loop gets terminated. Okay. But in our case, 2 greater than 2. Yes or no? No, it's not. 2 is not greater than. If it is equal, yes, it is greater than. But 2 is not greater than. So it's not reached the point. Therefore, control comes to input number. So it's going to ask the second time what is the input value. This time I'm going to give 3. Now my number, the variable value is become 3. That is my second input. Now sum equal to sum plus number. So sum is already 7 plus 3. 7 plus 3, 10. Sum value becomes 10. Okay. This is the value of sum. Now control comes to next I. Next I. At this point, I value get incremented by 1. I plus 1. What is the I value there? Number 2. So 2 plus 1, 3. Now control comes to the for next loop is I greater than 3, which is true. If I is number 3, third time is coming to the loop, therefore this condition is true. It terminates the loop, which means it comes out of the loop. Okay. If I is greater than n, which is 3 is greater than 2, yes. If it is yes, then loop terminates and control comes to the next part. So what we have out of the loop, okay, what we have in out of the loop, print sum, the value is 10. So then 10 gets printed, stop. Okay. So this is very common generic flow chart which accept any number of numbers, but you have to tell the computer how many numbers you are going to add. And then you need to input one by one based on total number of numbers. The calculation happens when the loop executed that number of times. It comes out of the loop and print the value. Okay. So hope you understand this. I am going to give small exercise now. You copy this flow chart on your notebook. Change the I value. Instead of start with 1, start with 0. Okay. Start with 0 to n. Then you do your own testing. Take again same example, like like me, take two numbers, add two numbers, but start instead of I equal to 1, start with 0. Execute this process and just see how many number of times this loop get executed. And then if you can add into my command, I know that you are following me, and then it is good practice. It is exercise. It also gives me some input how you are following me. Okay. And next video, I'm going to add. I'm going to show another video. The goal is we are going to look at 40 to 50 problems by solving each problem drawing flowchart. So this way, your problem solving skills develop much better. That will help you to develop, write a program efficiently whenever you become a software engineer. That is our goal. Okay. I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you subscribe and share this with your family, friends who are doing this computer learning, or anyone who is interested learning computer. Okay. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.